Asana just rolled out new role-based access in the platform or in your admin console, I should say. And so previously you would have all your different lists of members and guests and invited and removed all in one section. And then you'd have to go into your settings to assign the different admins and super admins. But now under members, you can see there's this manage roles section here. And so you can see your super admins, members, and guests all in one place. And separated by the different access or levels of access they have. You can also go in globally and edit these different permissions here by checking what they have access to, what they don't have access to. And what I love about this so far is you can get really specific about the types of things you want your guests or let's say contractors, maybe customers, vendors to have access to when they're inside of Asana. And so I'm going to go back. I'm going to create a role just so we can see how flexible this is. So I'm going to call this contractor, and this could be ad hoc or project-based freelancer, like that. They're not going to be a member because they're always going to have an external email unless they are a project-based contractor. They are customer-facing. I guess they could be a member. So let's actually go with that option because they would be customer-facing. In this case, they can invite other domain members. I guess in this case, they wouldn't really know any other domain members to invite. They'd already be in your Asana. But you can determine if you want them to be able to invite guests in this case. You can do it from the trusted domain or from any domains. So what I like so far is like we've had access to some of these settings, but they've just been in different areas. So like I said, you'd have to go into settings to make a lot of these guest different permission settings and changes. But in this case, can this member create company goals? Can they create teams, right? So maybe I don't want them to be able to create teams. I don't want them to create company goals. Maybe they can view them as a member, but they wouldn't be able to create anything. And also, if you were to switch to guests, let's just see what happens quickly, right? They can still create company goals, but then the option to create teams is then removed. So let's go back here, reset. So no company goals access, no create teams access, set portfolio visibility. Sure, why not? Add custom fields to the library. This is a really good one. There's seldom cases where a contractor or someone in an ad hoc position would need to commit fields to the library. Again, if they're working in your environment or outside of your environment, may not be relevant, but in any case, you can make that decision rather than having them be able to access the library and then add more custom fields to the library, thus cluttering your space as well. So I really like that new feature. Can they delete tasks? No, they cannot, except for the ones that they create themselves. That's a really cool feature. We've been asking for a long time about, how can I stop people from deleting tasks? And there hasn't really been an answer for that until today. So that's a really cool addition. And again, that can be locked down for members or for guests in this case. Let's see. Do I want them to export anything? No, I do not. Import projects and tasks. Depends on what it is. I guess you could, use your discretion there. Upload files to Asana. Yes, download files from mobile app. Let's remove that. So we don't want them having access through the mobile. That's fine. Use personal access tokens. No, I do not. And use apps. I'll keep that there unless maybe I don't want them connecting their Dropbox or something like that. They would need to use our Google Drive. And any other apps would be configured by, I guess, a project manager or a consultant or someone within the company who is a full member and not a contractor. And so there we go. I'm going to go create this role. There we have it. And so now we can see we have it there. And so what I could do is I could go into any of my different members and I could change their assignments. But now when we're actually inviting a member into Asana, we can assign them the role as contractor and we know exactly what they can have access to. I love this from a governance perspective, the ability to not only add people in and see who we have in our spaces, but also know what users at what level have access to which types of things. And just think of how customized we can make this. Let's go create another one. We'll just call it maybe casual guest. I can't think of another one right now. Sometimes uses Asana. Be more descriptive with your descriptions, please. Let's go in and add a guest there. Can they invite guests? No, they cannot. Can they create company goals? This is interesting because historically guests were not able to create company goals or have any access to the goals at all. So that's an interesting change. Maybe I missed that somewhere, but that is definitely jumping out at me as something that we historically have not been able to do. If you know otherwise, leave a comment. I'd love to let me know where I missed that update. But share portfolio, set portfolio visibility, delete tasks. Yeah, same kind of thing. They can self-manage. I would hope, but I don't want them to have any ability to remove anything or upload anything from the system, right? So we can get pretty granular. And obviously you can see versus the contractor role that we just created here. This is a much more limited access to our Asana. So system admins, super admins, IT personnel, security personnel, I'd love to know what you think about role-based access. Go check it out today in your admin console, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching as always. We'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.